Hello everyone once again, this is Rob, and welcome back to another album review, and this is my continuing series on the Flower Kings Remastered catalog. So it's both a review of the album as a whole, in terms of content and writing and performances, as well as the remastering and reissuing of this album itself. Before I go any further, however, I do want to ask you all for your help. As many of you may know, I am a disabled individual, and I use a motorized wheelchair slash scooter for my everyday mobility. My seat has been broken for some time and has only gotten worse, which is now affecting my everyday uh, life itself in terms of my quality of life, and therefore I'm asking for help. My insurance will not cover the purchase of a new seat. I have a fundraiser going on, and if you look in the description below, you can find a link to the fundraiser video. You can see the damage which the seat currently has, and it would be greatly appreciated if you would consider donating to the cause and uh, making it possible for me to have a new seat that is not uncomfortable, but rather comfortable, stable, and secure, as opposed to unstable, painful, and very insecure. So please consider donating to that. If you're not able to donate, please like and share the video. That's all I ask is that at least it gets circulated and more people become aware of this, as it is, as I said, affecting my everyday quality of life basically, and I'm just doing the best I can at this point in time. So please consider that. Now on to the show at hand, which is the Flower Kings. I initially started this series out as a weekly review of these albums. However, I realized very quickly that um, I was running out of albums to review as they weren't being released quite as rapidly as I thought they would be. So I changed it to monthly, which I'm very grateful that I did. So we're on the eighth Flower King studio album, and that happens to be the album Adam and Eve. Now let me show you the version, which is the remastered version, because I have both copies here, my original copy and the remastered version. So here we have the new cover, basically the same cover as the original, just slightly enhanced as far as color scheme and actual layout. Here is the back cover. I'll show close-ups of these as well. And then you open it up and you get some great pictures of the band. And then you unfold again and you get some more great band shots along with the CD itself, as you can see. There you go. Now this is the remastered reissue. This is 2023. This just became available this year. Um, and the original album was released in 2004. I happened to be very fortunate and was able to see them for that particular tour at the New Jersey Prague House, the Forum Theater. Its former residence in Metuchen, New Jersey. With my ex-wife, we went to see them actually twice, but the first time was for the EU tour. And here is my original CD, and this one is signed by many of the band members: Ron Stolt, Hasse Fromberg, Jonas Ringel, Thomas Bodine. And as you can see, this is a standard jewel case. I don't know if you could tell from the side. I mean, you can tell by the glare. It's a standard jewel case, and the way it sounds. Um, it's your basic thing, and then of course the new ones are all digipack format, as you saw, and it's really a nice package in my opinion. They're both on Inside Out Music, and here is, like I said, the new version. And I have to say, as an album, this is probably one of my favorite Flower Kings albums. I'm not going to reveal my favorite album until I'm all done reviewing all of these, and that includes the newest albums that have come out over the past few years as well, because I'm going to go right through the catalog and just review them all, and then from there I'm going to move on to Werner Stoltz's solo work, Hasse Fromberg's solo work, in addition to some other things I have planned as well. But in the meantime, Adam and Eve is an album that I guess that I was fortunate enough to see this tour, and I was amazed at just how intricate and how precise these musicians were on stage, and just replicating this music that in some cases is epic in nature. And by epic I mean extreme in length and complexity. Now you might ask yourself, well, what does that mean? Well, the first song on this album is approximately 19 minutes long, and it is considered an epic. Uh, if you look back to the days of classic progressive rock like Yes, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, etc., you'll find songs that roughly clock in at that time frame. It's not uncommon to see that. But the Flower Kings sort of brought that back into focus with their arrival on the progressive rock scene in the 90s, and followed that through the 2000s and beyond. And I'm really fortunate to, I met the guys on that initial tour that I saw for Adam and Eve, and they're all great guys. They signed my disc, and we talked a little bit. Got to talk to them more the second time around, and it was more of a reacquaintance, and just an overall great vibe. But the first time I saw them, it was just amazing. Now, the album itself is really a very well written album. And from the first time I listened to it, I remember that the title track, Adam and Eve, stood out as one of my favorite tracks, along with a song called Starlight Man, which is probably one of the shortest Flower King songs I've ever come across, and it's also one of the most commercial songs as well. And Starlight Man is one of those songs that if people are curious about the Flower Kings, I always point them towards Starlight Man as an example of what to expect, basically, because it really does sort of get across the progressive elements along with this sort of pop sensibility that can be present on some of their work. Um, I I think that the original album sounded really good when I got it, and I have to say that the production on the original still stands up today. Now, in comparison, the newly digitally remastered as of 2023 Adam and Eve release, this one right here, is, I'd say, on par with the original. There are some uh, variations in the mix, not a lot though. You can't really um, meddle too much with perfection. And I do have to say, this album is quite honestly a perfect example of progressive rock perfection. And I I know when I first heard it back in the day, as I said, it really impressed me. And then by that point, I was really getting into the Flower Kings. So it was great to hear the album and great to see them on tour. But when you heard the album, you got this impression that these guys were really doing this album out of the pure passion for the craft, for the actual love of making progressive rock and making progressive rock in modern day. And I that impressed me a lot because it didn't seem forced at all. It seemed very effortless in terms of listening to it. And then listening to, like I said, the remastered version, I really don't notice a lot of differences on this remix remastered edition. It's I haven't seen any reviews of this, so that's why I'm doing this as well. This remix remastered edition of Adam and Eve is really worth having, if nothing else, to complete the digipack format in terms of your collection. If you're collecting these, as I am, you can see that it's got that digipack format, and you saw the unfold of it. And I really, I mean, I would recommend this album to anyone getting into the Flower Kings. This one and Unfold the Future, my previous review from last month. But this album in particular, because it's a single disc, not a double disc, makes it more digestible, I think, for a mass audience, or even for a first viewer or listener, I should say. Um, and I apologize for fidgeting. I am in extreme discomfort here in this chair, so I'm trying to keep myself in focus while not being in pain. But this album, Adam and Eve, is one of those albums that is very special to me because it's an album that really sort of hit the mark back in 2004. And I think I had it pretty close to the actual release date. I believe it was released back then on a Tuesday. That used to be the release day of new albums. And I think I had it on a Thursday. I'm fairly certain. And that was without Amazon Prime at the time. So that was pretty impressive. And I just remember listening to it from beginning to end, thinking to myself, this is excellence. This is just really superb, from beginning to end. And there aren't any songs that sort of flounder. It just flows very nicely right along from track to track. And like I said, the two standout tracks for me are the title track, Adam and Eve, and of course um, the shortest. I said that probably certain is probably the shortest complete Flower King song, and that is Starlight Man. Uh, But it's a great song, and it's a great example of what these guys could do even in a short time frame. They don't have to necessarily do a half-hour long song to get the point across. They could do it in 3 minutes or 2 minutes. It's not really about the length of time. It's about the crafting of the art form itself and just how well it is. So if you're curious about the Flower Kings from these videos, or if you are curious about modern day progressive rock, I would check out the Flower Kings Adam and Eve, and these are the limited edition digipack formats from Inside Out Music. This is also available on vinyl for you vinyl enthusiasts. It was remastered for vinyl as well as CD around the same time. So it's definitely something to get while you can, and it's worth having in your collection, assuming that you have an actual physical media collection, as I do. So check out the Flower Kings Adam and Eve. Like I said, their 8th studio album. It features, of course, the amazing Renee Stahl on lead vocals and lead guitar, as well as rhythm guitar. You have Hasse Franberg on lead vocals and rhythm guitar. You have Thomas Bodine on keyboards, Jonas Ringel on bass guitar, and doing an amazing job on this album. This is probably one of my favorite examples of his playing with the Flower Kings itself. And you have, hang on one second, I'll put the names on the screen for you. You have Zoltan, I'm not going to try and pronounce the last name, on drums. And this is Zoltan's second appearance, I think, with the band as far as studio albums go. His first being Unfold the Future. And you have the first official album appearance and last official album from appearance with the Flower Kings of Daniel. And I'll place his name on the screen so I don't mess that up either. And Daniel's also a key member of the band Pain of Salvation, so if you're familiar with them, you'll recognize his name. And he's an amazing multi-instrumentalist, and they were really fortunate to have him as part of their touring cycle for Untold the Future. Unfortunately, he was not able to join the band for the touring of Adam and Eve, at least not here in the States. I don't know if he did overseas or not, but when I saw them here in New Jersey back in that time frame, he was not with them. I did see him later on with Transatlantic, but that was years later. But yes, there you have the Flower Kings and Adam and Eve, an album that you should definitely not hesitate to get while you can in this limited edition digipack remastered reissued format. They are available now from Inside Out Music. I got this from Amazon, and I will be reviewing Paradox Hotel next month, the 9th studio album from the Flower Kings, a double CD as well. So, I hope you enjoyed this review, albeit brief, and review of the remastering, reissuing, because it's, like I said, the album itself is great. There's nothing bad I can say about it. The writing is great, the performances are great. When it comes to the remastering and reissuing, I really don't see much of a difference between that one and the original, except my original signed and the new one is not. That's the only difference, really, as far as mine are concerned. But in any way that you can get your hands on this CD, I would definitely do so. But I would definitely try and get the limited edition version, the new one. It is packaged very well, like I said, and it looks wonderful on shelves with the other ones that have all been reissued and remastered. And they just have a nice collectible feeling. And for some of the other ones, the remastering and remixing was more noticeable. On this particular album, it wasn't quite as obvious. And I kind of appreciated that because I really liked the way the original sounded. So it's close to that. There are some marginal differences if you really, really, really listen hard, but not terribly noticeable. So once again, this is Rob with Media Awareness with my monthly Flower Kings review. I do hope that you will all consider checking out the fundraiser if you haven't already done so, and please consider contributing. If you're not able to contribute to the fundraiser, please like and share the video, and I'm sure others will if they can. But if you can like and share, that's as much appreciated as a donation. And as long as we can um, get this goal met and keep this ball rolling, all will be well with the world. And I will not be quite as uncomfortable as I am at the moment. I do apologize for the excessive fidgeting in this video. It's gotten worse since last month, and I do apologize. However, with all that stated, I do want to thank my friends Susu and the Wolfman, who are wonderful YouTubers and they're amazing. Check out their channel. It's linked below. They were kind enough to feature my video on their channel, as well as Ramsey Reacts, who also featured my video on his channel. And I appreciate his help tremendously in terms of getting my channel more visible, along with my good friend Amy Goodson, who is just a wonderful person and one of my best friends, I'm proud to say. And I mean that with all due sincerity and appreciation. I will see you all soon. Have a wonderful morning, noon, or night wherever you are. Take care. Bye.